Roll.
Hi,
Shit.
everybody.
I'm
I,
literally in the middle of taking my socks off.
The
welcome to
best
tonight's
time to go
episode of
live.
Ramblemancy. I totally did not catch the thing that I was trying to catch, which was Freeman being ridiculous. But um, yeah. Um, anyway,
Hello, everyone, and good evening. I've had about 2 pieces of toast and a few chicken nuggets to eat today, so I am wired.
Sweet.
I have some wild energy today.
yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
Anyway, I was trying to catch Freeman being ridiculous, and I did not. I did not unmute fast enough. Anyway, hi everybody, welcome to
Hello.
tonight's stream. We have probably some announcements. We'll see what comes out of my mouth. All right, here we go. The announcements are. It's good to see all of you. That's it. That's the whole No. Um, I don't know. I don't think there's actually anything now that I think about it. There's nothing.
Uh,
It's just a normal last week. That's what we got.
yeah, we have some programming next week. You should check it out. In Too Deep, our D&D actual play with an all LGBT plus cast is on Tuesday. There is a super top secret surprise thing happening then.
We literally
Well,
announced it on Infinite Horizon.
Yep, I know.
Okay.
I was like, wait, you had me double.
For last. Drac is going to be on In Too Deep next week.
Yeah.
So Drac will be on shows back-to-back days on Rule of Back to Drac. Sorry, I'll see myself.
Nope. Mm-mm. Okay,
Or
that's
is
fine.
it Drac?
I'm muting Freeman and John. Okay. Anyway, so it's group consequences. It's group consequences. Anyway, no. Okay, we're back. Anyway, um,
Never heard of those. Is that? I like it.
group consequences definitely very effective when we were in elementary school. Super effective. It didn't just piss us off.
Back to Drac to
Oh,
Furious.
Thank you, Koala. You get me. Anyway,
Oh.
that's happening this week. Patreon, there's stuff coming. I've teased some of it today, although none of that is actually going to be in it. Those are just the outtakes. They're around. They're in the Discord. They're on Twitter if you dig a little bit. Yeah, that's great. I'm very excited for y'all to see Beyond the Roll.
Mhm.
We brought some weird energy to that. It was great.
Yeah, we really did.
Mhm.
That second session was something else. I made so many choices.
Also, the dice
so
just
many.
understood the assignment. They just
Mhm.
did.
They really did.
Absolutely.
They
Anyway.
really did. Like, I laughed, I cried, I nearly fell out of my seat from tension. As you do when you're
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good
Anyway,
time.
so if you have no idea what we're talking about Beyond the Roll, our newest feature on our Patreon, our newest Patreon award, wherein we have a bunch of little short shots and side adventures that we wouldn't have time to do during our regular streamed time. It'll be in shorter chunks per episode, so they're not gonna be all 3 hour long episodes. They're gonna be closer to try to stick close to hour and a half ish, um, per episode. Yeah, we'll just have a bunch of little short shots. The first one being Cam and Jace's adventures in Night City. It's chaos. You've got the manic mechanic and the rocker boy phantasmic, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
what a tagline.
Yeah,
Wow. You just right off the top of your
pretty
head.
much. Yes, I
Right?
just sort of
Yeah,
threw
no,
those two. Yeah.
incredible.
Um.
Some applause in chat for Lucas. Oh wait, no. I have an emote for this now.
All right. Cool. Excellent. So yeah, we have that's gonna be happening. Two characters who absolutely should not have been left unsupervised. Anyway, um, so that will be coming to Patreon soon. TM. Just finished some of the editing today. Now we just gotta get all the other logistical stuff out of the way and upload schedule and all that. So stay tuned. You will see that being posted shortly. That's all I got. So that's what I got. That's all I got for announcements, I think. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good show. Pack it in.
All right. Good night, everybody. No, okay.
Ever since I was on Ray's stream, that's my favorite bit to do, is to hit the stream ending thing and be like, all right, thanks everybody, good stream.
Yeah, so that's the hour. That's the hour. Yep. Yeah. Well, we did not come into tonight with a plan, but we also did not see that as a problem. So, John, what do you got for us?
Nice.
This is an incredible time to throw me under the bus after 10 hours of being at a convention today and having had very little food. There's so little going on in my head. I've never had fewer thoughts in my life, but I'm so used to just running my mouth from all day. So we're gonna see what comes out of it now.
Good.
It has been wild. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna start this off with some convention talk. It has been wild being at a convention today. It's very small. It's being held in the hotel, kind of, like 20 minutes or so away from my house. And you have to have proof of vaccination in order to enter and be given your badge to be able to walk around. So they're checking for that, and then masks are required the entire time that you are inside. I have not seen a single person without a mask the entire time, and people have been very good about distancing and stuff so far. But it's been wild today to be kind of back at this. And hold on.
Mr. Santana just admitted coming to class unprepared.
I'm gonna say hi to the people. All right, hold on.
Hello.
Mom. Say hi, you too. Everyone, this is my. Here, you can come a little bit closer so you're actually in the light.
It's me. I'm on TV.
This is my lovely roommate Ben, who has just delivered to me a box full of food,
Yeah.
and also a huge pile of cheese curds.
Excellent.
Which I will
Always
doubtless
very
be
good.
indulging in over the course of the stream.
Sweet.
15 minutes of fame. This is awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.
I'll be down later. Thank you so much, Ben.
This
Amazing.
episode is already off to a great start. We've had a special walk-on surprise guest. We've had we've got everything. That's what today is.
Yeah. No, this stream truly does have everything so far. Well, I'm gonna screenshot chat right now just so that I can show Ben later.
Excellent.
A few minutes of fame.
Yeah.
Now John can
I
share.
agree with Geek Outs, John. You should share those things.
Oh, these are the fucking amazing kinds of cheese.
I meant
too.
share them. No, never mind. I regret this decision. Don't show them to me.
Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna do the
Nope.
rest of the stream from over here.
Have an elevator, John. You have an elevator, or is
Alright,
it out
hold
of order? Because
I'll take the elevator.
I'm sorry, not this bit again. I'm so sorry. I did this.
Hold on, I need these to come down the elevator.
Okay, well that's all we've got for tonight. Okay, we're sorry. That's not actually the end of the stream. Anyway, anyway, hi. Yes, this is.
This is the energy that we've got tonight.
I cannot do this with you right now.
Excuse me.
If not now, when?
Oh, nice.
Ramble fam, whoa!
Yep. So anyway, this is the energy that we've brought to you tonight. I cannot promise that anything particularly meaty or insightful will come out of tonight's episode, but that is the end of that sentence.
Goal to pay Evan to make a Ramble fam parody song.
Yeah, Amethyst, I did not say that.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, yeah, okay. What?
No, sorry. I'll just be nibbling over the course of the stream now because this is the first real meal that I've had today.
some of us had the first real meal that we had today, John, right before the stream.
I know. I just a little behind schedule today.
Anyway, so I don't have anything specific. I don't have any burning topics. I kind of ranted myself out today. I was ranting about Game of Thrones earlier today.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm always down to rant about.
huh.
Yeah. I mean, all I said was that it's not a good idea for a TV show, and that everybody was always talking about and complaining, or not complaining, but like saying like it's just all it is just shock value and whatever. It's like, yes, because if it didn't have that, everybody would realize that in actuality they were just gonna get tired of it, because it's just all it is just constantly rubbing your face in how petty and horrible people are constantly, which is not a good premise for a show. So you had to have like the all that other crap in there. So
Yeah. I mean, like, that was a lot of the reason that I stopped reading the books too, is I was just like, because the books were much better.
See, I don't think here's my hot take. It's not that hot of a take. I don't like the books either. But I will say the books had a bit of a difference, right? Think about it, the titles, right? The books were A Song of Ice and Fire. Fire being the Targaryens and also dragons, and ice being like the Starks, but also like the fucking literal zombies in the. Right? This is how the rant started today. I was talking about like how some stories need zombies, and I don't mean like literal zombies. I mean like just like where there's like objectively the bad guys. That's like okay. There's no like moral dilemma in like them dying, right? Like because they are objectively evil. But and you think about that in the context of Game of Thrones, right? Like, let's set aside the like implications of that in terms of like a like social psychology level. We're just going to set that aside because none of us are qualified to talk about that. Anyway, but otherwise what you end up is a bunch of like morally gray areas where it's like, are these the bad guys? And then you think they're the bad guys, but then they like kill some of them, and then it's like, oh wait, actually they weren't the bad guys, and oh, that makes us the bad guys. And then if everything is like that, then you get fucking tired, you get exhausted, right? That's how you exhaust an audience. But
Well, it's like
I'm
also
looking at
it's
you,
not.
Walking Dead. Anyway,
It's
but
also to me like
wait,
as a
wait,
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 just
hold
feels-
on, hold
oh,
on,
sorry,
hold
go
on,
ahead.
hold on. I have not made my point yet.
Okay.
So the like you look at the difference between the titles, right? You have Game of Thrones, which is the name of the series, the TV series. You have A Song of Ice and Fire, which is the books, right? And the books, like, think about the difference in drama. Like, we don't know how the books are going. I'm gonna put this in past tense. We don't know how the books were gonna end because he's never gonna fucking finish them. We don't, and also even if he did, I wouldn't read them. We don't know how that series is gonna end. So, but like we can kind of speculate based on like how he was building. Right, you've got this like tension down here of like, think about the tension between like, you've got these petty political dramas playing out while there is an actual existential threat that threatens everyone, right? And it like with a setup like that, the only real actual way for that to like conclude is for one way or another, whether through war or diplomacy, the petty political dramas to be sorted out so that people can just in the nick of time band together and just barely defend themselves from the existential threat, which like it probably wouldn't end happily ever after, more than likely, but at least it would end with some sort of like satisfying conclusion or whatever, right? But that's kind of what we were set up for in the books. It is literally called A Song of Ice and Fire because you get the dragons and then you get the literal zombies, right? But then the show is like doing this, a lot of the same setup. It does a lot of the same setup, and then in like the last season, after building up all the setup, then it was just sort of like, okay, we're in this huge existential threat. We're gonna resolve that into like 2 episodes, and then move back to the petty political drama. And it's like, anyway.
Choices
Yeah.
were certainly made.
They sure were. Sorry, I'm catching up with chat. I was just talking about this with like the D&D stuff. It's good to have definitely. Yes, exactly. Odds and that's actually where the conversation started that I was having earlier today. I was talking about like in D&D, you gotta sometimes have the objectively evil guys because in D&D specifically, like the players kind of have to feel like heroes more of the time than they don't because it's a game, and because if they don't feel like that in every single situation that they get into is this like morally gray like situation where they have these huge weighty moral dilemmas to accomplish, players are gonna get tired. It's gonna feel bad. They're
Mhm.
not gonna stick around. It's gonna be I
Mhm.
literally had like in a game that I was running a while back, I like in my home game, there was a period of time where things got kind of dark to that degree, and like I literally had players come up to me and being like, hey, so I wanted to talk to you about the game because it's feeling a little heavy and I don't know if this is how it's going to be like forever, then I don't know that I can stick it out. And I was like, you know what, completely fair, don't worry, that was not the plan. So yeah,
Hmm.
anyway.
Yeah. It's one of those things like this is the point I was going to make earlier, which I think kind of follows that, which is that like to me that kind of thing is unsustainable. It feels unsustainable as a writer. Like you can't just wallow in like this weird morally gray, everyone is shitty to everyone else all the
Mm-hmm.
time. That's just how it is because that's how people are. First of all, it's not an accurate representation of communities. Um, but also like it also requires the characters to never change and to never learn anything or to only get worse.
Yeah.
And not only is that extremely dissatisfying to read, because like at a certain point in that story, you know what starts happening for me? I start going like, fuck, will the ice zombies please come kill them all? Like,
Hey, that's exactly how I felt during
Mhm.
watching Game of Thrones.
yeah,
Yep.
I was just like, man, I'm rooting for the ice zombies at this point. Like,
Team Night King right over here. Team Night King.
Yep.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we get to those two episodes where the plot is resolved and there's like all of humanity arrayed around like the Stark fortress, and then there's just like, have about a dozen humans standing off to the side of the Night King army with banners just like, whoa, go Night King!
Yeah. Odds and
Bring the long winter!
Odds and says, yes, we had a campaign fighting cultists, and we kind of just were like, okay, morally, we're going to say it's okay to kill them because they're fanatics and cultists. And then the DM was like, but this one that you really hate because they betrayed you, he's turning over a new leaf. And then I was like, well, we can't have fun anymore. That's fair. Like, completely fair. Yeah, absolutely. Because in a way, like, again, not analyzing the psychology of, like, murder as a solution because again none of us are really super qualified as far as I'm aware qualified to talk about that. We don't know enough. um but like on at some point basically like narratively what happened there was like you had a certain like satisfying conclusion stolen from you, basically, is kind of a little bit what happened. um and so like that does not feel good. It doesn't feel good. I watched a or not watched. I read a sometimes I will still occasionally browse like D&D behind the screen on Reddit because like there are a lot of people who do a lot of really cool stuff there, and they like post a lot of really good ideas, and every once in a while
True.
I go through there for like inspiration. And I was reading this quest, and like to the author's credit, the post author's credit, he was very much like, do not do this unless you are certain that your group will like vibe with it. Otherwise, I do not recommend you do this. But if you want to do something very morally gray and kind of a little bit feels bad, but with incredible drama, do this. And it was this whole like plot line with like some kobold or something that were like trying to like destroy. I mean, I think the players were not supposed to know it was kobold, and neither did like, but they were burrowing up and like taking townspeople or something like that. And basically, like the players were supposed to go and like take out the kobold, and it turns out they were like misled, and the kobold weren't actually hurting anybody. And it turns out that there's like also like they kill a bunch of kobold, literally like slaughter them essentially, and it turns out that like they're not bad or doing anything bad. They were just like manipulated or lied to or something, right? Like basically, and then it turns out it's just Kobold trying to like it was really bad. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see the appeal here, but also I agree. I'm glad the author stipulated at the very beginning, do not do this unless this is specifically the thing that your group signed on for, because it will suck if they are not prepared for it. And like and like
And,
that's
like,
fair,
you
and
have-
sometimes you can do stuff like sometimes you can get away with stuff like that, but it absolutely should not be the whole fucking game. Like that's yeah.
And I think especially when it's a game, you have to build in some obvious outs for it, like on the way, like places that they could have discovered
Sure,
that would
yeah.
have altered the trajectory of it. You can't just kind of like force them into doing not force like as much as you can force a TTRPG party to do something, but like you don't want to be rug pulling in that situation,
Right.
It has to be like it has to be incredibly well executed. Well, maybe poor choice of words there, Jonathan. Well executed. But yeah, I'm just reading chat.
Yeah, I'm also trying to
So
catch up here.
Orange, hello.
Hi, Orange.
It's just a game, and you gotta be like, in order to have fun, we're gonna not look too deep into the moral thing for certain games. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think that sometimes it is fine to have incredibly morally complex like villains and stuff like that, but sometimes it is okay to have a big green spell casting acid puking flying lizard that just really wants to like engage in a reign of terror
and
over
here's
the
the
city
thing.
because that's what it wants to do.
And here's the thing. I think so. Like Matt Colville does address this in like one of his videos. I think I think it's one of the. It's called Zombies or something like that, or Let's Talk About Zombies, or Everybody Loves Zombies, something like that, right? Where he's not literally talking about zombies, and he says like it could be zombies, but like not literally zombies, but like the bad guys in D&D or tabletop RPGs. It's important to have the bad guys that are like objectively okay to like fight and kill, right? And like it could be like, yes, there's something wrong, I think, with saying orcs are evil because orcs are evil, right? Because that's just the way they are, right? But I think it is also wrong to say no orcs are evil, or even no orc clans are evil. I think because that does sort of on some level kind of go the other direction and like sort of stripping them of like agency. It's like no, orcs are always right. Like there's got to be like I'm not saying you have to have like an orc clan that is evil. I'm just saying that like that is a thing that you can do, which is actually how I've gotten around a lot of like questionable world building choices in like pre-existing stuff that I've run, where I'm like, okay, it's not that orcs are evil, it's that these specific orcs are right, like are evil. They're like raiding and killing, pillaging, all that sort of stuff. But these orcs over here are just kind of people, you know? They're just regular, like they're your next door neighbor. Like he's just like, hey, how's it going, man? Oh, pretty good. Just chopping some wood in the back, like right, like that kind of.
Yeah. How's the corn growing?
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
And like,
there's Tiffany said that she had a math test the other day. How'd that go? Like,
yeah, like there's a whole city of orcs over there, and their whole job is to prevent like undead from spilling out into the world and killing everybody. Hell yeah, right? Like,
you love to see it.
Yeah, exactly. Edge of Fate. Orcs are people. Some people are evil. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's, yeah, like everyone has the opportunity to be evil. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, I mean, like, I think
spotted the Iowan in chat.
Give me a few sessions of Orclings of the Corn. Incredible.
Oh, well.
Orclings of the Corn.
Good.
Listen, and I say this as somebody like I love orcs just as like conceptually. I think orcs are fucking cool. That's why orcs are always badass and like really cool in my settings. Like there's there's clans of orcs who are just like they just sort of like are nomadic clans that wander the tundras, hunting and subsisting off the land. There's orcs that like build incredible like metropolises who are basically making themselves the bastion between undeath and like tortured monstrosities and the rest of the world because somebody's got to fucking do it. And like, yeah, I just think orcs are cool. So I say this as somebody who is very like pro orcs. Sometimes sometimes they're just sometimes you got a group of them that are just they've lost their way. They've been led astray by an evil deity who, whatever. I don't know.
Hmm.
Just, anyway,
In the same way that there are just so many human cults. Good God.
we'll avoid the irony of that particular statement. Anyway, but yeah. um,
Mormon style orc cult.
Oh,
Try walking into that orc village wearing your usual fantasy armor.
Odds and Ends says, I guess my question is, why is it wrong to make a species of people who are evil for the cosmological reasons? For like cosmological reasons, it's just that they're too close to human style people. I think it's less. I think it's not so much that they're like so like close to. I think it's more about like the way they're portrayed, right? Like the inherently evil, like races, right? Like I think it's more about the way that they are depicted, where
Mhm.
often you see a lot in like a lot of the traditional like okay, I'm starting to stray outside of a level of comfort here, mainly because I do not have a level of knowledge with which to or expertise to talk about this, but I'm just giving you my understanding of it. So that's what we'll so when I say it's like in a lot of cases historically like some of the like uh, objectively evil races of D&D have
The
been
drow orcs.
have been depicted in a way that draws on real world cultures, and those are often cultures who are like POC and like yeah, non-white cultures, basically indigenous non-white cultures.
Yeah.
And so then it becomes an issue because you're basically it's like drawing on this you get that uncomfortable tension of like drawing on real life uh uh oppressed peoples to depict your objectively evil races, and it's not good. But
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah. um yeah, the Geek House just said the same language used to describe native peoples everywhere. Yes, exactly.
hmm.
The savage must be tamed. Yeah, precisely.
Yeah. The problem is that, as Lucas said, to just to kind of restate that, the problem is that inherent to a lot of those is the coding of each of those races, like the way that their culture is tied to real world things, and then also the game text says, and they are always super evil because of whatever contrived reason it is, and it's a problem that fantasy as a whole has.
Yeah. I also think Koala makes a good point here, which is the idea that those sentient beings can only have one brand of thought doesn't vibe with me. I think if they can communicate with each other and have feelings and thoughts, I wish that those thoughts and emotions would vary from just being kill and fuck shit up. That's what I think about. I just do not vibe. For lack of a better word, it's dehumanizing. And yeah, and I think
Hmm.
there's certainly that is an excellent point and argument. I also think that like I also see the point that Odds and Ends is making for like in terms of like if as D&D I think often treats them, if like good, evil, law and chaos are objective forces in the universe, not philosophical positions. They are objective actual forces in the universe, and there are planes that are aligned with each of those respectively, then would not denizens of those planes be also aligned with that? And I think there's room for that. That's like
Mhm.
there's absolutely room. I do it all the time. Like Slod, objectively fucking evil. Slodai are evil. But the thing about Slodai is that they are not depicted as, to my knowledge anyway, have never been depicted as like any real world indigenous people. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
Or for instance, like a fucking planetar. A planetar is always going
Yeah,
to be lawful
exactly.
good
Like what
because it is a creature from
Yeah, like what geek outs, and yes, like I agree, but not mortals. Cosmic beings must be aligned. That's exactly what I do in my settings. I always say like cosmic beings are aligned with their right because they're not mortal. And like odds and ends, yeah, orcs and drow are material planes, so they should have the same choices of any other race. Precisely, exactly. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, it's otherwise you're doing what Koala is saying is essentially dehumanizing, or at the very least like not respecting the like agency and sapience of a species, right? Like, and that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
bad.
it's shoddy world building at best because you
Yeah.
imagine like the D&D has always imagined a polytheistic pantheon, right? And so many other fantasy races are, often associated with one or two gods, but there's always the caveat that lots of people within these communities worship lots of different deities, and worship of multiple deities is not something that is uncommon, because when you have a truly like polytheistic
Mm-hmm.
like world that, and like gods that are real active forces like of order, chaos, good, evil in the world, then like the world looks very different. But then it's very weird in that same world to say, but oh yeah, these two like fully sentient races have been influenced by this one particular god, every single one of them, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, okay, come on.
It's like,
I don't know about that one, pal.
right, yeah. Like gnolls, for instance, right? Gnolls are one of those that like they have this insatiable hunger. The species is cursed to have this insatiable hunger, which is what drives them to be evil. I'm like, okay, but hold on a second. Why couldn't we just say that there are some gnolls, some like groups of gnolls who like that particular group, right? I think it's weird, like even just forgetting like the logic of the real world, right? And just looking at like the internal logic of the setting, doesn't it make more sense that one specific group of gnolls was cursed? Like one specific clan or tribe of gnolls was cursed, and like to have this insatiable hunger, but then there's like other
Mhm.
gnolls that are just regular ass people. Doesn't that make a
Yeah.
little more sense? I don't know. Just even just using the internal logic of like a magical fantasy world, right? I don't know. I just
I don't
think
know. I've read a lot of mythology. Seldom is all of humanity cursed with something. It's
Mhm.
usually a group of fuckheads who did something very bad, or did something stupid, or did something that mildly
Yeah.
irritated a god.
yeah.
Really, there's an incredible breadth of things that can get you cursed in mythology.
Like also Kenku. Can we like I know this has been
Kenku.
talked to death, but like Kenku. Like that's a perfect prime example of like a species that pissed off a god. Like it wasn't even like a whole species. I think it was like one of them that like pissed off a god, and the god just cursed every Kenku from then on out to not be able to speak or have an original thought, and they're cursed for their entire existence to just mimic. And then it's just like, why?
Yeah.
But why
why?
though?
Why did we do this?
Why though? Why though? Yeah, yeah.
Let's get those Kenku uncursed.
Yeah.
Talk to this god, okay?
Uncursed Kenku.
Hashtag
Yes.
justice for Kenku.
Yeah.
Justice.
A quest, exactly. Save the Kenku.
Durgar. Well, Durgar
Hey,
didn't piss any.
it's
Hey,
Nico.
Nico. Hi.
Hi, Nico.
It's good to see you. Haven't seen you in these parts for a while. I don't know what that.
Durgar didn't like piss off anybody. They're just sun deprived or something like that.
Listen, as somebody who lives in Western Washington, like vitamin
Hmm.
D deprivation is no joke. Like it's a real thing. Like I mean, I sometimes I want to just go and like, there's not enough sun. I want to go and like just murder a bunch of other people who live in sunny places. That's not true. Anyway,
I live in the
Oh.
American Midwest. It's fucking frozen here for 7 months out of the year.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Nico, I'm sorry to hear that you've had a rough month. I feel you, buddy. But I'm glad that you're here. Glad you're around. Always appreciate seeing you. Yes, admit to that in your Twitch stream. That's a good idea. okay, well, listen, context, because that's definitely something the Twitch algorithm understands. Context.
Yeah, no, it is
Context
it is
and nuance. Algorithms are notoriously sensitive to context and nuance.
it is at this point that we discovered that we have actually been thrown onto the front page of Twitch.
That would be
hello, everyone.
very, very. I feel like they have to let you know about that ahead of time because there's like specific things that you've got to do for like during the front page streams. Like you've got it's. I was talking to Jake about it a while back, and he told me all the ridiculous shit that he had to do just to be on the like. It was like
Wow,
he had
yeah.
to be, like the stream had to be going for like an hour or something like that before it goes on the front page, which means that like if the main event is something that's going on the front page, then like what are you doing for the hour before it's on the front page? And like
Yeah.
so it was just Jake like jumped on and was just like talking head in the camera like for like an hour before they went on the front
Jesus
page.
Christ.
Riffing for a whole hour. Yeah, basically. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my brand.
Talking what in the camera, Lucas? What? I don't know. Listen, do you think that I listen to the words that come out of my mouth? No. I don't know what I just said 2 seconds ago. Come on. So what are we rambling about today? Honestly, Nico, who knows, really?
Who can say?
Who can say? So far, it's been talking about, like, see, like I said, I don't remember what we're talking about today. I don't remember what I said. Like, good and evil.
Yeah, good and evil. We ranted about Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
for a
I took
while,
an
and that
opportunity to shit on Game of Thrones for a little bit, even though it's not relevant anymore, nor will it ever be again.
Yeah, well, thank God. No, we talked about, and that kind of led us into like talking about like gray morality and its place in tabletop RPGs and how to do it, and the fact that just in narrative in general, but also in TTRPGs, you can't really lean on those kind of villains constantly, and that yes, it is okay to sometimes just have people be evil, like have enemies that are evil just for the sake of evil. Like you shouldn't have all of either of them.
I will caveat this and say this is not good writing advice. This is tabletop RPG advice. It's not good writing advice.
Your villains in a scripted or like novel or like graphic novel or comic medium do have to be a little bit more interesting than like I will destroy the world because I am evil. But in tabletop RPGs, I think it's perfectly fine because, as we said earlier, the characters, at least in Dungeons and Dragons, should feel like they are heroes more often than they do not.
Like, I don't think that it's wrong to have objectively like evil villains in written fiction. I just think that they've got to be more than just evil is their entire personality.
Yeah, and like Nika says, unless you're writing horror, and I think that's a yes, but from me. I think horror is so often like it's horror to me is more about the power dynamic involved. Like horror so often is about like utter powerlessness in the face of something just absolutely like, you know, in the case of like Eldritch Horror, something incomprehensible from you know, beyond our understanding, or something like that.
Yeah, like, yeah. I was gonna go off and start talking about something I also know very little about, and I will spare you and myself the moment of looking like a fucking ass on the internet. If I do that, it will be on purpose, and not because I was talking about something I don't understand. So
evil isn't a personality.
Correct.
Oh my God, I get that you're evil, but could you like not make it your whole personality?
Amazing. Speaking of horror, all right, you got my attention, Koala. I finally watched The Haunting of Hill House, and it's spectacular. Highly recommend. So nuanced and good and scary. I think Haunting of Hill House is very good. I think if you like horror, it's worth a watch. I did think I liked Bly Manor better, but I did not dislike Hill House. I thought it was good. I just didn't. I think I should have watched Hill House before I watched Bly Manor, because yeah, I should have watched Hill House first. But you're right. I think it's very good. There's some really good stuff in there, and like, yeah, yeah, there's some good stuff in there. See, odds and ends cannot do horror because I like to hope. See, that's cool, but consider horror that then you hope anyway, right? Like that's what I love. I like where it's like in my some of my I can't think of any examples off the top of my head right now, but my favorite horror are the kinds that throw you into those places where like it's like a hopeless struggle against the unknown and whatever, but then like hope is the point. Like hope is the point of the story. I like, and I know like there's some people who might quibble with me on whether or not that would still be considered horror, but I say yes, it is. It is still considered that. But anyway,
Mhm.
I think it's have such a low time to give up bar. You know what? Fair enough. That's completely fair. No more final girls kill everyone. Amazing. Stranger
Stranger
Things.
Things. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I suppose.
Kids on Bikes in general, I think, kind of winds up kind of
Yeah.
flirting like in and out of that. Like I think Kids on Bikes is something that kind of dips into that a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
especially Stranger Things.
Yeah, exactly. Season 1 specifically. That's kind of what I was thinking. Because after that, it gets a little less horror and a little bit more like just weird fiction. I think after that becomes more weird fiction.
Yeah, because after that the monster is revealed, and once the monster is revealed, you can't like you can't hold it in suspense anymore. Now it is
Right.
just
This is an
now it
incredible
is just
comment.
like
I'm sorry. Odds and ends is like also horror is like often occurring in like a home. No, I live in a home. You know
okay.
what? That's a fair
So
point.
Ugh.
I'll give you that.
there was a whole period where Dread Singles on Twitter was doing a bunch of flash fic about like houses being alive, weird eldritch liminal spaces. And I think odds that you should just steer very far away from any of that kind of fiction.
Was it Neil Gaiman that wrote The Wolves Are in the Walls?
Mm-hmm.
That's,
Yep.
that's a good one. That's also it's a children's book, but like Jesus Christ,
It's
like
so
it's
good.
like is that a children's book though? Like there are wolves in the walls, and like the thing that people are repeating is that if they come out, then it's all over. What's over? It. It's like what are we talking
It.
about?
I know.
Or
It's so
everything or
bizarre
something
and
like that. I don't know.
spooky.
It's
Mhm.
anyway.
It's something very, very it or everything. It's something very unknown.
Yeah.
I love it too.
Exactly.
The word I'm looking for is not coming to my mind. It's not there.
Thank you. Yes,
So
I am
good, though.
steering. Odd spook tolerance, mega low.
Also love horror comedy. When done well, it's the best. It can scare you and also make you laugh. Yeah, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. It's one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Also, oh god, there was another one that I saw recently. Cannot remember what it was. Monster House fucking scared me as a kid. Still can't watch. You know what? Fair enough. Yeah, Tucker and Dale versus Evil is incredible.
I still haven't seen it.
You should. I think you would. You specifically would fucking love that movie because it's a movie that does subversion of expectations very well. It like takes horror tropes and then turns them on their head, but still makes a pretty decent horror film. It's so good. Yeah.
I love that.
Favorite.
Or if it's partially because so much of horror is like a need to survive, and I just can't relate.
Oof. Sorry, I was trying to catch up with chat. Y'all are popping off.
Yeah. Y'all are going ham out there. Ham and cheese.
No. We're not doing that.
Oh, DJ, I got some weird energy today.
God, I can't remember that other horror comedy movie that I was watching recently was.
Hmm.
I cannot remember what it was. Yeah.
I know I watched Gremlins recently, but I know that probably I don't even know if that scared me as a kid, honestly. Maybe it did. Maybe that's a memory I have to unpack. But I watched it recently and was just thoroughly amused by it because I love the animation, or not animation, the actual real puppets that they use for the Gremlins. I think that's just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to check it out, even if it is just for the ridiculous scene towards the end where they're kind of wrapping things up and the heroes or whatever are like close to defeating the gremlins by way of like some kind of explosion. I can't remember now, but there's a scene in Gremlins 1. There's apparently 3. Gremlins 1 where all the gremlins take over this like local pub and are like, it's like a dive bar kind of thing. All the gremlins are smoking, there's dancing, there's a disco ball randomly, and it's the most amusing thing to watch. And I can't imagine that that was very easy to film because of the particular style of like puppeteering or whatever they use to make the gremlins happen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So amusing, so amazing.
See, there's also something to be said about like the genre of horror movie that's like not supposed to be funny but is anyway.
True.
There's something to be said about that. Um yeah. Hmm. This is an interesting thing that I want to look into now. Koala says, if you look at Stephen King's whole Pillars of Horror thing or whatever, would Final Destination count as horror because of gore? I don't think it's advertised as one, but I'm pondering. See, I'm not sure that I know like the whole like Stephen King's Pillars of Horror. I should look into that because that sounds like something I would very specifically be interested in. So
I would be interested in reading about that too, because I
yeah.
remember reading The Trajectory of Horror, which was a TTRPG focused like
Right.
supplement that I read ages ago. I think I can't remember how I found that. I think I might have found
I
it.
mean, we
through
did a
Reddit,
Ramblemancy
actually.
on it.
Yeah,
We did a Ramblemancy
I'd
on
found it long before that.
No, I know
but-
that. I know. I'm just saying, like, yeah, we've done a Ramblemancy on it. We reference it periodically. Yeah.
Mhm. Might be pinned
I don't
on
remember
there.
how you found that either. I just know that I
Mm.
found it because you showed it to me, and
Yeah, I think I might have found it. I think I might have found it through like DM Advice or D&D Behind the Screen or something
that's
like that. When I was
probably
looking around
true.
for
Yeah.
when I was looking, because it was way, I found it way back in college because
Mhm.
I was looking for basically advice on how to run a horror game for Halloween. Um, and I made what I think was a
Yeah,
very
and you
good
shared it with
first
me because
session.
I was also doing the same thing. I was doing the same
Yep.
thing. In fact, some of you in chat here, looking at you, Koala, have actually played in the result of that. Because I took something that I had designed for a home game and found notes on it recently and decided to pull it out and repackage it as a one shot. And I think Koala was in the Nico also was in one of those. So, um, but yeah.
Yeah, Qual says it's like terror, horror, and gore, and how they have different emotional responses that scare us in different ways. And how do you not? Yeah, like it sounds a little bit similar to the trajectory of fear, because the levels of
Mhm.
fear that they talk about there are unease, dread, terror, horror.
Mhm.
And horror is like the visceral, the monster is here. Terror is like the monster is imminent, and dread is I know it is near, but I do not know what it is or where or when it will strike.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think those are it's interesting that if he does make a distinction for that, if that is one of the pillars, it's interesting that he does make a distinction for gore.
I kind of tend to agree because that's like a thing. Like The Descent is an almost perfect movie,
Hmm.
except for the part where it just devolves into just a bunch of like gore porn, and it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, well, that's enough of
They
that.
they did a really good job in the beginning where you're like they have like the perspective with the camera, which I always find kind of trippy, where
Hmm.
they're like it's from the perspective of someone filming,
Yes,
and then you're also like underground in really tight
right,
places and
but
that like whole spelunking type deal.
it's not all from the perspective of the person filming, right? Because like so you it jumps you from like the objective like camera perspective to the like some
Mhm.
perspective of somebody film the first person somebody filming,
I
And
believe,
then
yeah. It's
yeah.
been a while since I've watched it. I just remember that specifically.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah. Um.
very suspenseful until it just turns into a big gore festival.
Mhm.
Hmm. Or is something that's never like Castlevania and stuff like that, like those shows that just have like a lot of really really brutal gore. It's something that's never hit for me. I'm like, oh yeah, look at all the tubes that are inside people that are outside people now. Oh
Yeah.
no, I see that every single day of my life.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I've
Exactly.
seen, this is a me thing, but I have seen so much of my own intestine. It's wild.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was unaware in chat I have Crohn's disease and I have a colostomy, so like I see a lot of my own guts.
I live
I
in a
live
person.
in a person.
You know what? Odds and ends. Fair. That's
Oh,
completely
That's
fair.
incredible.
so good. Wow.
Body horror. I live in a body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of body horror either. Like, there's, I don't know, some like,
Dragon loot. Hello.
hello, Dragon Loot, welcome. Yeah, I'm like not the biggest fan of body horror. Like, I think if used well and judiciously, it can serve a purpose, but sometimes it's just too much. Like, I don't think anybody knows how to
Mhm.
walk that line super well.
No.
I think there's some people who can do it, but I don't know. You can't convince me that it's not just luck.
In
I
Bruges.
think it might frankly be audio, like who's reading the book at the time, how
Yeah.
what mood they're in, and also just a little bit of luck.
Yeah. Um,
Uh,
live through body horror. That doesn't. You know what? Fair. That's fair. Yeah.
yeah. This is, speaking of body horror, I this is a show that I don't think that I can recommend to anyone. But I recently watched the second season of Centaur World with a friend, and it is the
Hmm.
most confusing experience that I have ever had consuming a piece of media, because I want you to imagine an extremely like colorful like adult cartoon that's supposed to be, that's like kind of a little bit billed as like this fantasy adventure, you know, that's got like songs and musical numbers and it's about friendship, and so it's billed as fluff, and then comes the body horror. And I that that whole show to me was just like, I as someone who has never done LSD, I feel like this is what it would feel like to be on it watching this
one of
show.
those shows.
Huh, wow.
Yeah. I have only ever had that feeling described to me. A
Mhm.
little bit, it felt like a little bit like verging on a bad trip,
Right.
like watching the whole
Oof.
time, but also I was so
So good.
riveted that I couldn't look away.
Um.
um
So Geek Outs is my favorite. Read scares me the most. Type of horror is when you, as the audience, is not sure whether what is happening is actually happening. Like when both the protags and you are like, "What the fuck is happening?" I got nightmares and chills. So I just recently watched a show, um, that it's not bad. I just didn't know what I was getting into, um, with it. Uh, the title is fucking obnoxious. So let me see if I can remember. It's a new show on Netflix. It is called The Woman Across the Street from the Girl in the Window. Um,
Whoa.
it stars Kristen Bell, um, and it's weird because on Netflix it's tagged as like deadpan and oh god, what's the other one that's like made me deadpan. There's another tag that they use that like makes it sound like it's a comedy, but it just absolutely is not. Oh, absurd. That's the other one. And like absurd, like deadpan and absurd, and like those two things when you put those together makes it sound like it's a comedy, but it's not a comedy. It's a psychological thriller,
Hmm.
wherein it's very much has that same kind of thing. Geek Outs, where like it plays with the audience's perception of what is real, and it's very interesting the way that they do it. they do it through a lot of use of repetition of dialogue, like word for like verbatim dialogue. They do it through repetition of actions, like where like she's like literally the first thing you see her do in the show, like the opening scene, she drops like a bowl of casserole, of chicken casserole on the ground, but she does that several other times throughout the show, very specifically chicken casserole, and it's really fucking weird, but they do such a good job of like, I don't know, playing with your perception of reality. And like if she sees something, you're like, oh, did she really see it? And that's kind of like the drama of the whole thing. It's this
Mm-hmm.
strange psychological thrill. I don't know, I enjoyed it. At the very least, I will tell you what, they did a very good job of me not seeing the twist coming. Like usually I'm like, okay, I had all my theories. I had my theories, but even with all of my theories, I was fucking wrong. Like I was so wrong. Like when the twist came, I was just like I didn't see it coming until it happened, which is like unusual for me, which was I can always appreciate when a show or a movie can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But they did it in a way where it wasn't just completely out. It was like slightly absurd, but they did it in a way where it wasn't completely like you could have maybe put it together, but it like plays with your assumptions too. So like your assumptions become the barrier in terms of like anyway, it's
Interesting.
I recommend it's worth
Huh.
a watch if you like psychological thrillers. It's worth a watch. I don't know if it's good or not. I wouldn't say one way or the other, but it's worth watching to determine it for yourself whether you like it. So
That's
that's what I would
cool.
say.
It sounds cool. I do want to give it a look. Hmm.
Yeah, Koala, exactly. Yeah, I've seen she drops one and she's like, "Oh, it's okay. I have more." Exactly. And then you're wondering like, does she have more or is it the same one? Is any of this real? And it's yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Um yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I have to say about that. Um listed as
Hmm.
deadpan, absurd, offbeat. Yeah, odds and ends, exactly. Makes you think it's gonna be a comedy, especially if you, like me, had just finished rewatching The Good Place for like the 3 billionth time. And then you're like, oh, Kristen Bell in a deadpan, absurd, and offbeat show must be another comedy, and it's absolutely not
So
that.
right off the bat, took you by surprise.
Yeah,
Or
Kristen Bell equals
wow.
funny. Exactly. That's what I'm like. I had just finished watching The
Fair.
Good Place again, right? And then this show dropped on Netflix, and I was like, all right, okay, okay. It's so very not. There are moments that are played for absurdity. There are moments
Mhm.
in the show. Don't get me wrong. There are moments that are played for absurdity, but like never to the extent where it's like comedic. Like never quite to the level of like it's comedic. It's just absurd. It like rides the line, and it's really weird.
Huh. Do you think the writers of the show did that on purpose?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know if they did. Like I wouldn't rule it out, but like
Mhm.
I don't know.
Because sometimes you see that in media and it's just like that is so fucking good. If they actually planned that,
Right. No, it's genius if they did it on purpose,
it's
but like
genius.
but if they didn't, which seems equally if not more likely, then it's like, okay, why is this here? But it wasn't bad. It's just really
Mhm.
strange. It's just a really strange. Let's put it this way. I I didn't understand it. Is basically what I'm
I
getting
love
at
it.
here.
Sign me up.
Um,
That title is also really crazy. I'm gonna
yeah,
have to.
exactly. That's another thing that makes it
Mhm.
seem like it's a comedy, right? Because like
Yeah.
the woman in the house the woman across the street from the girl in the window.
It's like what?
It's like in
Sorry.
Arrested
Hold
Development.
on a second.
It's like
Yeah.
Like,
in Arrested Development that like the
And
religious televangelist show that like, and as it is such, so also is it such unto you. Like the fucking
mhm.
name of it. I love those ridiculously long titles of like fake
Me
TV
too.
shows with ridiculously long titles and stuff like that. Anyway, it just
this
sounds like
is how the,
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, it literally sounds like a parody of the girl in the window. Yeah, I think that's what it sounds like. Like what it's trying to
Hmm.
do, but yeah, that was just on actually. That's right. Yeah, it was absolutely on that. But I also had just finished watching that episode of Arrested Development just like a couple of days ago, so it was on like I was on my brain. Um, How are the peeps doing today? Dragon Loot, they're doing great. They're getting ready for Easter. That was a terrible joke. I'm so sorry.
They're getting ready for this.
Like,
It is the season. It's coming up on it. They're working hard.
it's not the season. It is literally February, John. Shut the fuck up. You sound like my local grocery store. Like,
Tis the season. If
it's like,
you're-
well,
if you
Christmas is
work in
over. Better get
retail.
started getting ready for fucking 4th of July. Like,
Yeah. All right, everybody, we got your mini poles, we got fake palm trees, we got these lights to hang out in your yard that won't be thawed for another 4 months. Like, it's
Oh my
age.
gosh.
Easter is in
Oh.
April. Geek outs. Easter's in April.
Anyway, the best way that I can answer Dragonlit's question is that I've been awake for 16 hours now, and almost 12 of those were spent at a con today.
If
So.
it ain't, that's a mood, geek outs. If it ain't Halloween, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, same, honestly.
Fair.
There,
Mhm.
there are 2 times of year. There is Halloween and there is not Halloween.
Yes, exactly. Don't forget the tiki torches. Exactly.
Right. The anti-mosquito tiki torches. Yep.
Seasons
Very
aren't real,
important.
Nico says. You're right. Seasons aren't real. Time is a
I
weird
mean-
soup and also fake.
It can't be, because who fucking came up with February? Am I right?
Yeah, I mean February really got the short end of the stick. They're like, we need another month, but we don't have enough days for another month. So what do we do? Do we just like have a couple longer months, or do we just have one really obnoxiously short month? And they're like, you know what? Short month. Why? Because fuck absolutely everyone.
And you know what? Every 10 years, that month's gonna be a little bit longer.
It's 4 years actually, John, but like good try.
I've been awake for a long time today.
Amazing. And also, oof. Amazing and also, oof.
Yeah. Edge of it. Okay,
Man,
but the
like,
short
it's
month,
perfect.
it gets longer. Yes, I would have loved to have been in that pitch meeting.
It's really not 10. It's really not, John. I was an English major in college, not a math major. John, go to bed, please. Okay, fine.
All right, well, that's the end of John, I guess.
All right, cool. I'm in bed now.
Nice. Well, so the reason I cracked earlier is because I saw Amethyst saying by Panic at the Disco, but that just unrelated to the band. I thought of Electric Six,
Oh my
and I
god.
haven't thought about them in 7 years. Danger, danger,
Yes,
and that's all
exactly.
I'm gonna say.
Okay, but whenever I'm playing like a Fallout game or something like that, and I'm walking around and I see those like those wall like decals that just said danger, high voltage, and like immediately in my brain I'm just like, God damn it, Freeman, why did you do this to me?
Yeah, I apologize. I'm trying to remember who did it to me, but I think it was myself on accident.
Probably.
Late at night or early morning on YouTube.
Yep.
Go on. I'm gonna go into a rage.
I would like to rage.
Oh my gosh. Wow, this has been a very like manic last half hour of conversation.
Mm.
Yeah, no, it really has. We are truly in rare form tonight.
I love how I started off the stream by saying I couldn't promise that anything particularly like meaty or insightful would come out of the stream, and then we immediately proceeded to start talking about the nature of good and evil and truly what does it mean to be human. Do any of us have free will? And like that's
I don't know, it's a conversation that like as a bunch of storytellers that is just like it's just room temperature for us, and so we forget, I think. And then anytime somebody brings it up, we're just like, we've been activated. Oh.
the Olin Rogers, one of my favorite YouTubers, used to have this show called Rollin' with Olin, where it was just like him recording him and his friend driving around, and his tagline for it was always my favorite thing, where he'd be like, Welcome to Rolling Film, the show about everything and anything, but mostly nothing. And I feel like that's a little bit Ramblemancy.
The show about everything and anything, and also nothing.
Yeah, and like, yeah. Um,
This has been a lot of fun. I laughed out loud so hard when John said every 10 years is an extra day. In
yeah,
episode title. Yep.
yeah.
Listen, my brain. So last night, for game night. No, not last night, Jonathan. Last night was Thursday night. Wednesday night for game night in my roommate's house.
Hold on, I just want to interrupt you for 1 second. Like,
Uh-huh.
geek outs, don't fucking get me started. Don't do this to me.
It has begun.
Geek
It
outs
has
knows how to
begun.
get Lucas going.
Olin Rogers did Ghost in the Stalls. Yeah, like, what was it, 10 years ago? I think he posted about it recently. Was it 10 years ago? I think it was something like that. Oh, speaking of which, I meant to bring it up last Friday, but I forgot. But last Saturday, so not tomorrow, last Saturday, was the second birthday of Infinite Horizon, which, like, also didn't bring it up on Wednesday when Infinite Horizon was actually happening, but yeah,
It was
anyway.
a pretty nice episode, though.
I love that, like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, happy birthday, Infinite Horizon.
Happy birthday, dear Infinite Horizon.
All right, sorry, Dragon Loot. I'm gonna catch up with what you were talking about. Went out for coffee. Most eventful date I had in months. Fair enough. I did that recently too, so I understand. Eventful, I mean, I saw a band perform live for the first time since COVID began. Left my info for them in case they decide to do some album work. Ooh, nice. Come up with a mixer and for me to do maybe album art for them. That's awesome. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Just super interested in my art. Wants to commission me for a profile picture? Hell yeah.
Ooh,
Hey, I'm very happy for you. Happy that you had
that's awesome.
a very eventful and super cool day. That sounds
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah, it sounds like a super fun outing.
Yeah.
Ride that high.
Yeah,
Just roll around
absolutely.
in that. Roll around in that for a while.
Oh man.
We all had to take a sip at the same time, I think, for that.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
The
It's just
collective slurp.
Let's listen. We share a brain cell, and every once in a while, that brain cell like finds itself perfectly in like equilibrium between the three of us, and
Yep.
we just synchronize our actions.
Slurp.
Yeah.
Mhm. Glitter matrix.
Brain shell. That's called the skull. That wasn't worth saying.
Someone's connected to that.
Well, it was a good show, everybody. Thanks for coming tonight.
Freeman's,
Until the next time.
Freeman's trying to end the stream, but he doesn't have that kind of power. So,
If given enough time and maybe the keys to Lucas's back door, that could be true.
I mean, Freeman could like literally get
Oh.
here in the get to where I am currently sitting in the amount of time it would take me to actually shut the stream off. So like, but yeah, geek outs. Anyway, oh my gosh.
My rudimentary understanding of Spanish, and I think I know what you are still prodding Lucas to do.
We share
Okay,
a
I see
name.
why Ramble Man is.
We share a name. Hell yeah. I don't know too many Lucases who don't just go by Luke, so it's always cool when I see any who like don't. Like I think until college, every Lucas that I knew went by Luke. and I've never done that because I'm just not a Luke. Even like this guy that I met in college, like the very first time that I met him, he told me that he he started calling me Luke, and he told me that like he automatically, doesn't matter who they are, always defaults to the shortest possible name that he could call somebody. And even he stopped calling me Luke after a while because I'm just not a Luke. Anyway,
As long as I have known you, I've never thought of you as anything other than Lucas.
yeah. Skywalker.
Lucas is my last name, and it's very weird because everyone flip flops between
Oh,
my first name and
interesting.
my last name.
Interesting.
I have a friend who has two last names for a first name and a last name for his
Yeah. Koala, you can certainly try, but like I promise you it won't stick. You'll get tired of it after a while.
his oil and water like
Yeah, it just doesn't fit. Um so yeah, you're welcome to try it, but it's anyway.
bet. Okay.
So yeah,
Like Skywalker.
that was like one of the I got that a lot when I was a kid. They're like, "Huh, wait, so your name is Lucas and you like Star Wars? Haha, that's really funny." I'm like, "Not really. Statistically, it's pretty fucking likely," which is the thought that me, a 5-year-old, had. So in response to that, no, but yeah.
The Luke I know was born May 3rd.
Oh no,
No.
that's rough.
Oh,
That's
no.
rough, buddy. Like a ridiculous 5-year-old. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But my brain just shut down. You just watched that happen. Y'all see that happen? It just like
Mhm.
stopped.
Mm.
Like there was just completely blank. Just nothing happening.
Mhm.
Nothing going on backstage. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm beginning to hit that point of the evening as well. Like the mental faculties are slowly shutting down. What ones remained
What-
to me.
yeah, too much
What
thinking
were there?
about too much
Were
thinking
there
about good and
any?
evil. Yeah, exactly. Imagine knowing anything about Star Wars beyond lightsaber go shoom. Couldn't be me. You know what? There's really not a whole lot else to know, really. That's a
Yeah.
lie. I
There's
imagine
so
a
many
whole franchise based entirely around the sound that a sword makes when a laser sword makes when flying through the air. You know, it's that's a whole franchise about a bunch of like angsty glow stick wizards. Don't worry about it.
Angsty Glow Stick Wizards, the hit sequel to Thirsty Sword Lesbians.
I would play the shit out of that. Angsty glow stick wizards. Let's go.
Hold on, I'm writing that shit down. Fucking all right. Angsty glow stick wizards. You got a fucking laser glow stick and you have philosophical opinions about the nature of good and evil and law and order and chaos.
Yeah.
And you need that to be everyone else's problem.
You just described the entirety of the Jedi Order. Also the Sith too, a little bit. Like
Yep, nope.
the Sith are making everybody
100%.
else's problems, but in a very different way, in more like the murdery way, rather than the like, no, I must convince you that I am correct. It's more like,
Yeah.
man, you can be wrong. I don't care. Maybe you're right. It doesn't matter. Murder. I'm gonna murder you, and that's the Sith way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's just about. Listen, stands up on soapbox. The Jedi and the Sith aren't actually that different. Here in this essay, I will. No.
In this essay, I will. All right,
We must-
everybody drink for Lucas explaining that the Jedi and the Sith are not so different.
We must finish what we started.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, you have a glow stick! Freeman with the prop game on point.
Oh my god.
I wish that I had a glow stick to just whip out. The best thing that I've got is this. So like,
Cue Amethyst with the inappropriate comment about whipping out glow sticks.
Also an earring,
beat
apparently.
you,
So
beat you to it this time. Ooh, nice. Also, Orange, I wish I could tell you it was a specific. Thank you for those, Matt. I love that emote so much. It's my favorite emote that anyone has ever made. Dragon has a knock knock joke. Knock knock. Also, Orange, I wish I could tell you that it was the specific sword lesbian of which I know you are thinking, and it is not that specific sword lesbian. We were talking about the game Thirsty Sword Lesbians, which is a very fun tabletop RPG in which you begay do crime. Two sides of the same coin, one could say. Who's there, Dragon Loot? So my sister-in-law had a baby and her son couldn't care less. All he wanted to talk about was his glow stick, and I was like, fair, dude.
Yeah.
No one's home. Knock knock.
Oh no.
Oh no. Same cat lady, enemies to lovers storyline. No, Orange, I genuinely think that you would enjoy Thirsty Sword Lesbians a lot. No, just me. Knock knock.
But who was phone?
The knock knock joke was coming from inside the house.
Stream with John stripping. It was only a matter of time before people started whipping out stuff. There it is. Amethyst cat lady, everyone.
I just wanted to see if you're still there. I'm lonely.
That one hit a little too close to home. Just like the knocking did. Anyway,
But
Oh, well,
the
but who
telltale
was
knock
phone?
knock joke. Incredible. What was I gonna say? Angsty glow stick wizards. Still fucking funny. Extremely good. That's
it's written. It's written on a note card, and after this whirlwind of a con weekend, I'm going to sit down at my desk on Monday and look over at the little spot where I usually keep all of the note cards that have my like stuff to do, and like that's how I keep track of my life between you know the calendar and a bunch of note cards that sit next to me. I'm going to look over there, and instead of like here's the list of tasks that I need to accomplish over the next couple of days, it's going to be angsty glow stick wizards, just written in some kind of deranged chicken scratch. Ah, yes. Note.
Want to play this TTRPG? Yeah. There you go.
Orange.
That almost looked like you did it on purpose.
Almost.
Imagine an alien finding those cards. Ah, yes. Good. Those useful things everyone uses. Yeah.
There's a bunch over here actually that have like K-drama recommendations on them, and let me tell you, the titles of those things absolutely wild. I would love to see an alien react to finding this post-it note that just says weightlifting fairy, skate into love, hometown cha-cha-cha, and racket boys, sorry, different one. I would love to see what an alien anthropologist makes of that, and also
Kiko says, what would you do if you heard knocking coming from the floor right now?
I would go see if Ben was okay.
I'd be like, again? No.
I would take the stairs down there and check right now. I mean, they're right here. I hate myself so much for bringing them up again. I can't help it.
Bill? Bill, is that you? Did we leave you in the elevator shaft?
Knock back, but more obnoxiously. There you go, Nico. Yeah.
You just
Stop
shave
to
a
show
haircut.
dominance.
I report my roommate to the police. Yeah, I think that you just if you hear a knocking on the floor, you just walk over and go.
Mm-hmm. Two can play at that game, floor skeleton. That's why I die first in horror movies.
Koala said, probably tell them to
Yeah.
keep it down and then go to bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It all comes back around. Indeed it does. And here we are basically at the end of the stream, and I don't know. I feel like you can't you know, go like riffing for 3 minutes. Come on. Anyway. So
ask the knocker for rent money. Hey, if you're gonna sit in my floor and knock, you gotta pay rent, pal.
yeah.
Nice.
I think that's I think this is the end of the stream now. This is over. We're done. We've reached our final destination. I'm so sorry.
Orange, I will just respond to like this. Absolutely, you're welcome, Orange. But also, like, I will post a link to Thirsty Sword Lesbians in the Ramblemancy channel in our Discord. Which, if none of you are, or some of you are not in, you should join our Discord. Which cord?
Discord.
That chord.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Join the Discord. My brain is not working well enough to do any outro announcements, so either somebody else has to do them, or we're just gonna end it right here.
Yeah. So, thank you everyone for coming to Ramblemancy tonight. It has been lovely to have all of you here for this, the most manic of rambles recently. Thank you for joining us for a list of topics, including the nature of good and evil, and also knock-knock jokes. There are a variety of ways that you can support this wild thing that we do here. Including showing up to our actual plays and hanging out and chat like right now. We have some of those next week. They are on Tuesday and Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific and 6 p.m. Pacific, respectively. If you would like to support us monetarily, there are a variety of ways you could do that. We have a Streamlabs tip jar that you can throw some cash at us through. We have a Patreon, which is frankly, I think, the best way to support us right now. And it gets you a ton of really cool benefits, including access to Beyond the Roll, which we were posting some outtakes and like sound check stuff from today. Very excited for all for that very recent, sort of short bite-size actual play that we've got going on to go up on our Patreon, and all kinds of all other cool stuff goes. A stool does not go up there. That's not where all kinds of other cool stuff goes up there. I'm running out of steam, but I think I've gotten through most of it. Thank you so much, everybody.
You did it.
Yeah. So we'll hopefully see you on Tuesday for Into Deep at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time with special guest Drac. And so yeah, hopefully we'll see you then. But if not, we'll see you the next time you decide to come. Sorry, I'm checking. I shouldn't be doing this. Never mind. We're gonna next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night and good zone, everybody.